Before we jump into today's episode, a big thank you to G&M Cattle Company for sponsoring the Beefmaster Banter podcast. We appreciate your commitment to the Beefmaster breed and to supporting conversations that move our industry forward. Let's dive into this month's episode.
Welcome, everybody, to the Beefmaster Banter. Today, we're joined with the former host of the Beefmaster Banter. We kind of flipped the tables. I'm hosting, and we got Josh Morrison here with us to talk about being a young producer in the breed. Josh, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing great. As I told you before we started, it's a little different being on this side, just being the guest, but it's kind of fun over here because I don't have to edit. I don't have to think at all. I could just talk.
So, our last episode, we had Lorenzo Lassiter on, and he talked about the history of the breed, and I thought that was a really interesting subject to talk about and dive into with Lorenzo, and he had a lot of historical perspective. And today, what I really wanted to do is get on with a younger producer that's really come on board and started and really jumped into the breed head first, full throttle. And Josh, we've met multiple times on the podcast, and I just think it'd be great to hear from you and just give us a little background on how you get started in the breed and what drove you to Beefmaster.
Absolutely. I'll give you a kind of a brief overview. So first, me personally, I'm first generation in the cow business, and I honestly grew up, I didn't get into really horses or agriculture till I was probably, nobody quote me on this because I may be wrong, but about 10 or 11, maybe 12. And, started into rodeo. I really took a liking to team roping. And I did that, junior rodeoed, and high school rodeoed. I actually ended up at college out in Mount Pleasant, Texas. I was only there a semester. My grandfather got sick and I come home, but it was a good time. Never really was into the cattle business side of it till my wife and I got married, and my father-in-law and myself went in partners on some commercial cattle. We did that for a couple years, and we ended up meeting Neil Hyatt. And funny enough, we sold some saddles. Rodney and I were selling a few saddles, and Brian Malone bought them. Didn't have a clue who these people were. We met Neil Hyatt at 1 a.m. He was hauling bulls to Kansas at the time. And he actually took them 1 a.m. over here off the interstate. And he took them. Well, they had Beefmaster bulls on there going. And they were the best looking cattle we had ever seen. And in that, we got to talking and ended up buying our first 3 not long after, and that would have been in 2018. And Rodney and myself have never been ones to dip our toe into anything. We always dive in head first. And that's what we did. We bought 3 head and bought a bull. And pretty much, well, we had some commercial cows. We didn't have a clue what we were doing. And about, I guess the next year, we sold every commercial cow we had and went and bought some Beefmasters. And everything is history now, I guess, but that's where we're at now. And we are to where we are today, and we're thankful to be a part of this breed. I didn't know anybody coming into this breed. I didn't know how it was going to go, how it was going to work. I didn't know who anyone was. Jared Strickland became one of my best friends quickly. And that's ended up how we kind of moving forward to the podcast, and I guess here we are today.
So
somehow they've run out of options, and they made me president of SEBA. And
it's great, in my opinion, to see the younger producers, getting more involved and stepping up and stepping into those roles. It's really, really good to see. You serve on our beef board, and that's something that this association couldn't operate without, is our foundation. You serve on that board and get to see the projects and things that come through there that are looking for funding to help push us forward. But it's been really fun to watch you jump headfirst into this and just really take off. And that's why I wanted to talk to you. You were always on this side asking the questions and getting the answers. So, you know, transition from commercial cattle to Beefmaster cattle. How hard was that transition for you?
I mean, financially, it was difficult, but as far as the decision-making process of, hey, we're going to just go all in, that part wasn't hard. We actually went to SEBA for the first time. I guess that would have been 2018. And that's where I met one of the best mentor I could have ever, and no shade on anybody, but the best mentor Rodney and I could have ever had is Clark Jones. He took us under his wing, and we've not let him go yet. He's probably ready to hurt me sometimes, but it was an easy transition, a lot easier than I thought it may be. You know, we went, so the way it worked for us is we just kind of sold everything when we probably, for cash flow reasons, probably should have kept a few. But again, we don't dip our toe in anything. And that's kind of how we are though. So it's been a long process. We're finally got to the point now this year where, we got the consign at Houston, and that was a cool thing for us. Never been there before. And we've got multiple things selling, and it's when they say it's a long game, it is truly the long game because, what's that? It's almost 6 years later, we're finally to where we can sell some stuff.
Yes.
So if I had to look back and give some advice to a brand new breeder that's going to get out of commercial cows, probably keep at least a few for some cash flow, until you get your herd built up like you want it. But, it's been a blast, and I can't thank Mr. Clark Jones and Justin Williams enough. We're partners on a bull on Game Winner, and funny enough, his full sister will be seeing some stuff coming out of her next year. But it's, without them, I don't think we'd be anywhere in this breed. So, and we're still a nobody. I'm not saying that, but it's just, you've got to, that's why I've always preached on the podcast, Jared, is you've got to find you a mentor. You've got to find somebody that you can get along with and that you can hang on to, and they can help you get somewhere. And Clark and Justin has done just that for Rodney. So, and people don't see Rodney as much. Rodney, I just like to be in everything. So I'm always stirring something somewhere. And Rodney's more, he likes to be breeding cows, and he likes to go to sales, but he's not big on the committees. And he is on a committee, but he don't like that quite as much as me.
I think one thing that you hit on that's important, and I don't think we can stress enough, is finding somebody to be a mentor, finding some people. But I think it's really simple in this breed. We've got a bunch of great people. So I think it's simple to make friends, find people to help you out. And I think that's something, in the entire ag industry that's important, but especially when you're getting into the breed. Can you touch a little bit more on that?
Yeah, I mean, meeting people I've always been a very outgoing person, so I'm a sales guy. So that's just what I do. It's second nature to me. But going into somewhere new where absolutely no one, just like the first year we went to see, we knew nobody, didn't know what to expect, knew nothing about pedigrees. I had no clue what EPD was, never heard of it in my life. Carcass data, I didn't know it. We didn't know anything. So it is very intimidating going in just stone cold from nothing. But it's easily doable, like you said, if you wrap up with the right people. So like I say, thankfully, Mr. Clark and us, we hit it off, and we talk all the time. We talk probably, I want to call him more often, but I feel like he would really get tired of me. So I, try to keep, because I know he's busy. So I try to keep that to a minimum. But Justin and I become great friends. Jared and I become great friends, and like I say, Clark has just been that mentor, and he's always willing to help anybody. I mean, he wants to help anybody that gets in this breed. I don't know that anybody loves Beefmaster cattle quite as much as Clark Jones does. I mean, he is passionate, and I know you'll agree with that. I mean, he is
Oh, yes.
passionate, and I love it because I am that way, and I am very passionate about the breed, and I want to see this breed grow and get more younger people in it, and take some market share from some of these other breeds that don't have the cattle we have.
And you talked about getting involved in the committees. That's something that I really want to stress, and I can't stress it enough from my position, is people getting involved in those committees and working their way into leadership roles throughout the breed. It's crucial for our breed to grow. It's crucial for us to have various ideas on these committees to move us forward. Um, you know, you jumped right in, and I mean, from day one, we're asking to be on committees, and I really like that. And it's something that I'd like to see is more younger breeders getting on these committees that we don't see quite as much. We see a lot of the same old breeders, which I love those guys. I've learned a lot from them in my role, but sometimes a little bit of fresh idea, a little bit of fresh start really helps out.
Oh, 1,000%. I mean, it's just because you're on a committee. When I first started wanting to get on committees, I had no idea what committee to get on. I just picked one, and I said, I'm just going to figure out what this is. And it was, I think the very first one I ever got on was membership. Pretty sure that was right. I didn't have a clue. I kept my, on our phone meetings, I kept my speaker on mute. I never said a word. I just wanted to take it in and listen to how things worked, how the inner workings of the breed work. I love facts. I love to know everything. My wife will tell you I act like I know more than I do, but we won't go there. And I probably do. She's probably right. But, I love the fact, and I thought, well, that would be a good way to meet people as well. So the next year, I wanted to do something a little different, and we knew Clark by then, and so he kind of guided me as to what committees to go out for, and they had asked me to be on the board of SEBA, and I didn't say a word. I just sat there and took it all in because I just wanted to hear. Because I didn't feel like I had enough knowledge yet to know to give any kind of ideas. I think I agree with you. More people need to go out for these committees and get on committees. Because if they see what the inner workings are, and I'm just going to be brutally honest, and I'm sorry, they wouldn't complain as much because they would see what all these committees are trying to do to better this breed. There's a lot of communication, especially if you'll just show up at committee meetings. And I know that can be hard for people to do, to get out there. I fly in every year from North Carolina, so I get it. But if you would just make that a vacation, just go one time. I would challenge, if you've never been to committee meetings, even if you're not on a committee, all of these meetings, except for part of the beef meeting and part of the board meeting, are open to anyone to come sit in on. You will learn more about what work is trying to get done for the betterment of the breed in 2 days that you ever will on Facebook, wherever, if you'll just come to those meetings. I challenge you, if you've not been, to at least come one time in your life, because I think even if you just came one time and never again, you would realize, man, there's a lot of people working hard to better this breed. I personally think a lot of times from the outside, people think there's just a couple people running the whole breed, and that's not the case. I don't know how many committee members we have total. I know it's a lot.
There's a lot.
It's not like there's just one or two people on each committee. What I like is it's a conglomerate of all over the nation and all different breeding philosophies and everything. Essentially, what you come to committee meetings for is to try to run the business of Beefmaster Breeders United. And, that's when you can honestly network the best. I met the most people ever at committee meetings I've ever met anywhere. So I'm like you. I was kind of long on that, so I apologize. But I agree with you. It is very important. And if you're not going to come to committee meetings, get in your satellites and get active in your satellites. SEBA, we have a blast at SEBA, and we started. This year we're getting to add some money I'll put in my shameless plug since I'm the president over there this year. We're adding $5,000 this year, and that has brought a lot of people's mindset of like, ooh, I need to bring a good one this year because I'd like to have that money. So get involved in your satellites, and if you don't like what's going on, get in there and tell them. I mean, but be ready to have an idea when you tell them you don't like what's going on. I mean, same with anything.
You talked about moving the breed forward, and I think we can start kind of wrapping up with that. But the committees move this breed forward. What are some things that you're excited to see that we've been working on and that we keep pushing for with this breed?
I love the fact that we're working so hard towards carcass merit and carcass data that we want actual live kill data, and we can make our EPD stronger that way. I think it's just going to make us as a whole. I think it's going to make our cattle a lot better. I think it's going to force us to cull more than we probably ever have. But I know there's not a lot of people interested in that. I know cattle are bringing a lot, but it would make a huge difference. I mean, that's the main thing that I can see that I'm probably most excited about. But there's just a lot of excitement in our breed, this past year, just in general. And I think it's fantastic, and I'm excited to see where we're headed. I love what Trey said, the president said on the podcast y'all did with him about we've got to the point now, are we going to be a hobby breed forever, or are we going to step up and do something? And I have actually heard a lot of people talk about that episode, some of the sales I've already been at. And he's right. I mean, he's spot on. Trey was absolutely spot on when he said that. And that's where we need to head. And it's time to get serious about this thing. And let's go.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to these committee meetings coming up this summer. I think we're going to get a lot done. Like I said, you've served on some, you've seen where we're headed with those. We're going to get a lot done, I think, and really push forward. And those meetings are the 8th through the 10th of July here in College Station at the A&M Conference Center Hotel there on campus. It is, like you said, it's an experience. You meet a lot of people, you learn a lot of things, you see people from all over the country, all working to make the Beefmaster breed better. And I think the one thing we have to realize as we make this breed better, we need to do it united when we make it better. That's the last part of our name is Beefmaster Breeders United. And sometimes we're going to have to, compromise a little bit and not always get exactly what we want that fits our operation, but it's going to fit the breed as a whole. So very important to realize. I'm excited where this breed's going. I'm excited for the young breeders like Josh that we have here. I want to thank Josh for getting back on with us tonight. Anything else you've got for us?
No, I'm good. I've missed it. I can tell you. I'm glad you asked me to be on tonight. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, man, I kind of miss being on the podcast. I didn't really miss all the behind the scenes. Now how much it takes to do it. And most people don't know this is a full-time job. Even doing it, when we were doing it once every 2 weeks, because you're always doing something. And so I appreciate what y'all are doing. I appreciate that y'all wanted this and y'all are keeping the podcast going. I think it's going to grow from here. I think it's something that still is needed, and it's going to be needed in a long time. And I'm going to tell you, Lance, I'm going to give you your props. You're the third EVP we've had since we've been in the breed. And I'm going to tell you, you're so far done the absolute best job of any of them. Hey, you're very accessible. I'm going to pick on another breed right now, but I talked to Jared yesterday, and he called me, and he knew that our niche shows a Hereford heifer, because over here there's no Beefmaster shows. So he was trying to look up for somebody a C number, and he said, I can't get a hold of anybody at the office. I said, well, have they called you back? He said, I've left, I don't know how many messages, but no one had called him back. Since you have taken over, I have never called the office once and not at least been called back. And I think it's important for people to know, because I've heard complaints. all you have to do is reach out. You're as accessible as anybody else, and you'll talk to anybody, you'll help anybody, and y'all go up and pick his brain. He may not want to tell you, but he is brilliant when it comes to these cattle, and we need to use Lance and appreciate him while we've got him, because I just wanted you to know you're doing a great job.
Well, thank you. Thank you. It's been a great episode tonight. And again, Josh, thanks for hopping back on with us, and we'll visit more in the future. And I look forward to seeing everybody. Hope everybody comes out to summer meetings. If you can't make it to summer meetings, put it on your calendar for October, the end of October, the 29th through the 31st, to come out to Reno to the Pepper Mill Casino. Come out and join us at convention. It's another great time to learn and network with breeders from across the country. We're running a special actually on convention registration. So we're starting it this month, March, the end of March through the beginning of May, $250. And then May through July is going to be $275. And then after that, it'll be full registration. So you got 2 early bird chances.
And that's a good deal. I think last year the early special was $350.
Last year it was $300 and then $350.
That's right.
So this year you got $250 if you get in early, and if you get in late, the last fee is $300. But
it's a great time. I'll just be honest. This past year was the first time I've ever been, and I had the most fun there that I've had anywhere else in this breed. It was a blast. That, like you said, you can network. There's a ton of people there. It's like me, I've never been to Reno, so I kind of look forward to seeing what Reno's all about and being in the city there. It's going to be a good time, so make sure you come.
Well, thank you, and we'll see you later, Josh, and see everybody else somewhere around.
Sounds great. Thanks, Dr. Bauer.
Lewis Farms Beefmasters in Miller, Missouri are proud sponsors of Beefmaster Breeders United and the Beefmaster Banter podcast. At Lewis Farms, we focus on raising performance-driven Beefmaster cattle backed by real-world data, fertility, longevity, and pounds that pay. Whether you're looking for herd sires, replacement females, or proven genetics that work in commercial environments, we'd love to visit with you. Look for some of our animals at some of these upcoming sales: the Next Gen Spring Classic sale on April 16th and 17th, and the Red River Premium Heifer sale on May 16th. Or learn more about our program on our Facebook page, Lewis Farms Beefmasters. Private treaty animals are also available. And finally, thank you to the listeners who joined us today. We hope you enjoyed what you heard, and we're so excited to continue to bring you great content from the Beefmaster breed. Please know that we're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Just search Beefmaster Banter. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe. We can't wait to hear from you, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thanks.